Maigrot, bishop, you sit in judgment from afar. But I've lived in China, learned the language, raised the bar for the gospel's enculturation into this ancient land. You call it syncretism, you don't understand. Honoring ancestors isn't worship of the dead. It's civil respect, Confucian custom, that's what I said. The rituals, the graves, the tablets in the home of family piety, not idolatrous Rome. Time for heaven, Shangdi for the Lord above. These are Chinese concepts pointing to God's love, not pagan deities. We're accommodating Him, but preparation for the gospel evangelically seed within. You're making Christianity a European export ship, when it should be Catholic universal, not a trip.
Ricci, please, you're baptizing paganism whole. Calling ancestor worship civil doesn't save a soul. 1 Corinthians 10, you cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. That's the scriptural sword. These rites have religious meaning in Chinese minds. You can't just redefine them, leaving truth behind. The Kauto before the tablets, the incense being burned, that's worship posture. When will you have learned? You accommodate too much for missionary success, but truth isn't negotiable for numerical progress. The Dominicans and Franciscans who came before saw these practices clearly. They're at paganism's core.
No other God. That's the first command. No other God. Across every land. No other God. We must take a stand. Ricci, no other gods.
Even in Chinese hand.
From Fujian province, I've observed these rites firsthand. The people treat them religiously across this land. You say they're civil, but intention in the heart is seeking blessings, supernatural powers part. The Confucian scholars might philosophize away the religious elements in an abstract way, but the common people, they're praying to the dead, asking for protection, fortune, daily bread. In your terminology, Tian and Shang did too. Sound like material heaven in ancient kings they knew, not the transcendent creator, infinite and one. Act 17, Paul and Marcel quoted poets, yes, but he confronted idols, made distinctions nonetheless.
Hold up, bishop, you arrived here yesterday. I've been in China 30 years, learning the way to present Christ in terms that Chinese minds can grasp without destroying culture in an ironclad.
Romans 14, matters of conscience, disputable things. Don't bind Gentile converts with cultural strings. The Jerusalem Council said so. Acts 15 makes it plain. We don't impose our European cultural chain. The ancient Chinese knew the true God. I can prove the classics speak of Shangdi. That's a bridge I use. 1 Corinthians 9:22. I became all things to all. That's Pauline methodology. That's apostolic call. You're confusing gospel with Portuguese. Culture's dress, making Christianity foreign, not universal witness.
Meet them where they are. Where they are. That's missionary wisdom. Meet them where they are. Where they are. Cultural kingdom. Meet them where they are. Where they are. Bridge the schism. Maigrot, meet them where they are. Not a European prison.
Your methodology sounds good in theories light, but in practice you're compromising truth for hype. The Pope will have to judge between our views here. Ex Quo Singulari will make the boundaries clear. You can't just let converts keep their pagan ways and call it enculturation in these mission days. The church's martyrs who died rather than burn incense before the emperor's shrine. That's the difference. Your accommodation cuts too deep. That's my word. The integrity of faith requires lines be heard.
Charles, you don't see the centuries of work destroyed by your rigid European lens you've employed. I've translated Confucius, Euclid, study with scholars dear, build trust and bridges over 30 years. The literati were converting, seeing Christ as true fulfillment of their wisdom, not something wholly new, but completion of what Confucius began to see. Now you've made it foreign to their identity. The Emperor Kangxi said we're reasonable men, but you'll make us aliens in our land again. History will show the damage of your decree. China closed to missions for 2 centuries, you'll see.
No other God.
Meet them where they are.
That's the first command.
Missionary wisdom.
Ricci and Maigrot, enculturation's debate. 1704. Ex Quo Singulari. Kangxi expelled missionaries.
2 centuries close. that was China's fate.